This man has experienced one of the most painful things that can happen to a person, but it's also what made him the strongest. When he was just 16 years old, his father left them and his mother had to raise 4 children all by herself. They didn't have much money, so he and his siblings had to do whatever they could to help their mother make ends meet. It was during these tough times that this boy learned how to be a man. He grew up to become an incredible man, who was able to make something out of his life despite having no role model growing up. He became a very successful businessman. But there's more to this story. Stay with us till the end to find out what happened next. The year is 2003, and a young man named Chris Gardner is starting his new job at a prestigious San Francisco brokerage firm. Despite being dressed in a nice suit and tie, he stands out like a sore thumb amongst his colleagues. Most of them are dressed casually and don't take themselves too seriously. But Chris is different. He takes pride in his appearance and wants to make a good impression. Unfortunately, he's not dressed appropriately for the job. The other employees are slackers and don't know how to take themselves seriously. Chris feels out of place and doesn't fit in. When Chris Gardner arrived at work, he noticed that no one else seemed to care about their appearance. They were dressed in Hawaiian shirts and sandals and looked like they were going on vacation rather than going to work. Chris, on the other hand, was wearing a suit and tie and felt overdressed. He stood out like a sore thumb and was definitely not blending in. Chris tries his best to do a good job and make a positive impression on his colleagues, but it's not easy. He quickly realizes that they don't respect him because he's younger and less experienced than them. But Chris is determined to succeed and prove them wrong. He works hard and studies the stock market in his spare time, so he can learn everything there is to know about the field. However, his efforts are not always appreciated, and he often finds himself being taken advantage of by his colleagues. For example, they ask him to buy coffee or lunch for them, and but little does he know that they are testing him to see if he will comply. When they ask him to get them drinks, he happily agrees. But he's unaware that they are assessing whether he will stand up for himself. Despite the challenges he faces, Chris Gardner remains determined to succeed. He's aware that his young age and lack of experience are working against him, but he's not about to let that stop him from achieving his goals. He knows that he needs to learn the ropes and that his colleagues are not willing to help him. So he takes matters into his own hands. Instead of waiting for someone to teach him, he decides to figure it out on his own. One day, Chris meets a friendly woman at work who offers to help him get acquainted with the company. She shows him around and introduces him to people in various departments. However, she's not interested in becoming close friends with him and keeps their relationship strictly professional. One day, Chris arrives at work to find that his office has been changed without his knowledge. He's now working in a cramped space under the stairs in the mailroom. No one seems to know why this has happened, and Chris is left feeling angry but despite the setback, Chris is determined to succeed. He picks himself up and gets back to work, refusing to let this temporary defeat get him down. As the days go by, Chris starts to realize that his colleagues are taking advantage of him. They ask him to run errands for them and sometimes even make him work overtime without pay. Chris feels exploited, but he's afraid to stand up for himself and risk losing his job. He's desperate to make a good impression and earn the respect of his peers, so he puts up with their abuse and tries to focus on doing his job well. One day, Chris's boss calls him into her office and fires him without warning. Chris is devastated. He'd been trying so hard to make a good impression and do a good job, but he'd failed. He's already behind on his bills and doesn't know how he'll support himself, let alone his family, without a job. As he walks out of the office building, defeated and dejected, Chris bumps into the woman from Human Resources. She asks him where he's going and he tells her he's leaving the company. She's surprised and concerned and asks him if everything's okay. Chris hesitates, but then opens up to her about his difficult situation and how he feels he has been treated unfairly. As Chris talks to the woman, he starts to feel better. For the first time, he feels like someone is listening to him and actually cares about his problems. She's kind and compassionate and offers to help him in any way she can. She tells him to hold on to hope and reminds him that things can still turn out for the best. Her kindness and support give Chris the strength to keep going and face whatever challenges come his way. Chris is deeply affected by the woman's kindness and support, and he can't help but wonder if she might be the answer to his problems. He starts to hope that she might be able to help him get his job back or find a new one, and he begins to open up to her more. sharing his struggles and dreams with her. As their friendship grows, Chris starts to feel like he can talk to her about anything, and when he does, he finds that she's always there to listen and offer help. She's patient, understanding, and non-judgmental, and Chris feels like he can be his true self around her, without fear of being judged. In addition to providing emotional support, the woman also helps Chris practically. She gives him advice on how to improve his job search and helps him prepare for interviews. She also introduces him to people in her network who might be able to help him find a new job. With the woman's help, Chris starts to feel hopeful about his future. He begins to believe that he can find a new job and make something of his life. As the weeks go by, Chris starts to find success in his personal and professional life. He lands a new job that pays better than his old one, and he is able to provide for his family and put food on the table. He also develops a deep friendship with the woman who helped him through his tough time, and he's grateful for her support and guidance. In the end, Chris realizes that the woman was more than just a helpful acquaintance. She was a true friend who helped him turn his life around when he needed it the most. He learns the importance of staying positive and reaching out for help when times are tough, and he carries these lessons with him for the rest of his life. Now, years later, Chris Gardner is a successful businessman who owns his own brokerage firm. He's achieved financial success and is respected in his community. But he never forgets the tough times he faced early in his career and the importance of helping others who are going through similar struggles. He regularly mentors young people and provides guidance and support to those who are just starting out in the workforce. Chris reflects on his journey and realizes that it was the combination of hard work, determination, and the kindness of others that helped him succeed. He understands that everyone faces challenges in life, but it's how you respond to those challenges that truly matters. Chris knows that he was fortunate to have the woman's support during his difficult time, and he's committed to paying it forward by helping others in need. He believes that by sharing his experiences and offering support to those who are struggling, he can make a positive impact on the world and honor the memory of the woman who helped him when he needed it the most. What are your thoughts? What would you have done differently? Let us know in the comments below. Like and share this story with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.